Yeah, hello, all right. So I know I was ruffling around in the background. Anthony said I could hear you ruffling around. There's basically I can turn the sound off when the countdown's on, but it's such a faff. So I just got to put up with it. Look, shall we be completely honest? This is never going to be a smooth, slick, live show. Never. Okay, I've tried. I've tried very hard, but it's not going to happen. But that's all right. It's getting smoother, isn't it? It's kind of all happening. And smoothness isn't going to happen until after this traumatic time some of us are going through. Let's be honest. Everything's a little bit rushed, isn't it? But that's good. It humanises all of us. Not that I needed much humanisation. So, hello, welcome. I'm gonna crack on when I know that you can see me okay, and when I know that the audio is okay. And I do this every time because the internet's been so weird at the moment, because so many people are using it that sometimes it can just do very strange things. So, is it just me? Sound a bit off the video? Is it? Is it off? Let me know, because it should. We don't want too smooth. No, I agree. I agree. Let me know if you can hear me okay, and I can mess around with it a little bit, I think. Let me see if I can put the sound up a bit. That should be all right. Yeah, okay, so, fine here. Good, right. Dave Croft, all good here. No, yay, you're all there. That's it, it's good. I'm quite happy to be on my own, but I'm kind of used to it. It's nice when you all start popping up. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all really good. It's really light. I don't know if you saw my Instagram. Do have a look at the Instagram, by the way. Real Magic Review. I'm going to start putting more on there. All right. It's obviously you're going to know what reviews are coming up on there. YouTube's a bit weird with the algorithm, so you'll see exactly what's coming up. But I'm going to start using stories a lot more. It's kind of settling. I've had a lot of weird stuff on at the moment, which is almost settling down a bit. It's not a complaint. Life is lovely. And I've realised that my live at 5 in the winter was when I started doing it, was perfect time. And now the sun starts coming in, so I've had to gaffer up a load of stuff on the windows, which is looking very tentative. Like, if it basically falls down, I'm just going to be white. It's going to be, and it's looking a bit dodgy. So I'm a little bit nervous. But that's okay. Like you said, we don't want too smooth. So before we go on, a couple of things to say. Please like the video. It makes a difference. I know I say it every time. All people on YouTube say it every time. There's a really good reason why we say it every time. There's so much competition now, so many people making YouTube videos, and that's great. And but it just means it makes a difference. If you want to share this in your community or to people who like it, or talk about it on the cafe or things like that, would be lovely. I want to do all these things, but they take so much time, and one day I shall be able to delegate it, and it'll be lovely. I'm a one-man band here. I'm all on my own, doing everything with the card course. Again, no complaints. Brilliant. And check out cardmagiccourse.com. Things have been changing. So the card magic course that I do is a real labour of love. Those of you on here will know how much work I put in, which is a wonderful thing. I love it to bits. Great community. What it was a redirect before. So you typed in cardmagiccourse.com and it went to the membership site. Now I'm creating a site around Card Magic Course, which is going to have a blog on it, which gives you more information about the course, and then you can click through to the site. So do please. It looks ugly at the moment. I'm going to try and get it designed properly, but have a look at cardmagiccourse.com. Any feedback would be great, other than it looks a bit ropey on mobile phones, which I know all that, and it is going to change. But let me know what you think of the video. It is on here as well, by the way. But that'd be great if you could have a look, because I've started again, because I've remade it on. It's going to be invisible to Google. So if you could have a look at that, that would be lovely. And look out for the blog on there, and check out my blog on Vanishing Ink as well. They have asked me to write a few blogs for them based on my stuff that I've been doing recently on Facebook, and on Facebook, which is Steve Faulkner, speaker, trainer, coach, which is kind of my non-magic leadership kind of self-development stuff. I'll stop banging on now. No, I won't, because I'm just about to bang on about a book, aren't I? So I'll start banging on about something else. So Distilled by Ryan Plunkett. It's a relief, This is a relief. Because even though I'm in no way affiliated with Vanishing Ink, I do love them to bits. I think they're lovely people. I think they're a lovely organisation. I think they're a lovely company. They're not flawless, but I like what they put out, and they've been very supportive of me, as you know. Giving me stuff, and when I started off, when I had like 12 followers, they were still giving me stuff to review, as other people were. So I get a bit nervous. Now, they have said to me, if we put out anything you don't like, we don't care. We don't want you to be, which is nice, because even subconsciously that's a problem, of course. And when I started reading this, I thought this was the one. I thought this was the book where I was going to be like, nah, it's not, I don't think this is going to be for me. My friend Alec in Chicago, funnily enough, and Ryan performed Chicago Magic Lounge 5 nights a week, or did do, which I suppose is very, very difficult for him at the moment because that isn't happening, which that must be, you know, when you got that nightly gig. My friend Alec from Chicago was saying, I don't know, you know, and I looked at it and I was thinking the same, and I've talked to other people that when they open it, they go, yeah, it's a beautiful book, the photos are great, and then something changes, and the changes happen for everybody I know as well, which is really, really interesting. So the first trick, which is any card at our numbers. First of all, the intro, Mike Pisciotta, I'm sorry, it's Pisciota, I'm sorry about if I've got the pronunciation wrong. Right, so very brief and concise and very nice forward, talking about how Ryan is a performer, and this is stuff that's been worked in for a long time. It's, you know, 5 nights a week. He does parlor, he does stage, he does close up, and this is and then Ryan talks about how it's this blend. He talks about the blend of whiskey, old and new, and this is kind of what this is. That's the kind of metaphor. But they both also talk about the fact that in the Chicago Magic Lounge, you've got this blend of magicians and lay people. So you've got to impress lay people, but you've got this constant feedback from magicians as well, which is great because I think that too much of one or the other can be problematic. So, you know, for those of us that are hobbyists, that do love our magic, it's very important that magicians see our stuff and respect it. Not, yeah, it might not matter to the lay people, but to us it matters. And then it's obviously, if we're performing, it's important that it's strong for lay people, and we feel that it's something special, and we give them a special experience. So he talks about how that's, you know, you get both at the Chicago Magic Lounge. You've got to do both, and this first trick kind of does that. He says it fools magicians and lay people. And I thought, whenever I see a trick with a red deck and a blue deck, part of me kind of goes, all right, so do as I do. And I don't really like do as I do tricks. I don't know why. They just don't really do it for me. I don't know what it is. It's because it's so specific. I don't know. No, maybe they kill for the audiences, but it isn't that. It's a matching trick. So they take out a red back or a blue back deck. They wash them on the table, and there's a lot of this going on. This kind of really fair, like they're really, really mixed up. And then you say a number that you've chosen. Maybe it's 17. You count down 17. That's your card. They count down to any number they want, and the cards match. Now again, it's got a really fair outcome. And when I read it, I was a bit like, oh, I don't know, is it? And then I read it deeper and then got it. And then I realized what was going on. And what's going on in this book is that what Ryan does is he takes existing things, the old and the new, you know, classics, and he's not scared to put a little bit of work in maybe beforehand to take a little bit of work out in performance. And that's kind of what's happening. You're seeing these methods, and part of you kind of, there's a simplicity to them. It's not easy, but a simplicity to them. And what he's doing is he's putting in a little, not lots of work, but a little bit that makes you go, oh, I've got to have to do that. I might have to get that and do that. And don't get me wrong, you're not going to have to get anything majorly massive here. Nearly all this stuff you can do straight off. And that preparation, you realise, doesn't take you long at all. But then you may have to do this to a card, and you've got this thing that feels really fair. And he says something very important. He says he would rather lie than do a sleight, which I quite like. He's got that sort of cheekiness to it, that you do something that's very devious, and there's a really devious method to this. And in the next trick, which is called fan mail, which really nicely follows on, which again is a matching trick, but he says you do it slightly differently. You sort of get them to take any card and put it in an envelope, and then you come back to it a few tricks later. And again, there's this washing thing. You wash them on the table, you show they're all different, and then you go down to 5 cards, and they see very clearly the cards are different, and it's incredible. There's no equivocate here or anything. And they go down to 1 card, and that matches the card. So those 2 tricks were the tricks that made me go, oh. And then when I read them in depth, I went, oh, that's actually really clever. And my friend said the same thing, and a lot of people said a similar thing. So I'm just going to check in to see if we're still okay, because I know I've been getting streaming problems. I think we're okay, aren't we? Yeah, we say we've got a good connection. Just let me know if you're there, and I can, because I know I've been having loads and loads of issues. I'll carry on, and if it doesn't work, I'll do a recorded review. And then we've got this trick that a lot of people would have seen, this ace on top trick. So it's kind of like a packet trick, and I don't want to belittle it. Yeah, thank you very much, Dane. I don't want to belittle it, but because a lot of people go to packet tricks, and you know we've seen a lot of them. But it really had a feel of something like maxi twist, and very very different trick. Now I've done maxi twist for years. It's a version of kind of oh, I'm having a mental block. The Vernon thing that. Anyway, it'll come to me in a minute. So there's, you know, one card turning over at a time. You tell me what I'm talking about. I've got a classic. I've got it on my course. So it's a version of those tricks, but what it isn't a version of that. It feels like that. I mean, you would have seen this thing where you show the 5, the 4, the 3, and the 2, and then you show the last card, which they think is going to be, sorry, the ace, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be the 5. You turn it over, then all of a sudden all 5 cards are in the other way. Have gone the opposite way, and it feels very impossible because there are literally only 5 cards there, and then they think there's more than 5, and you show them very cleanly that there's not, and then you repeat the thing, and that's going to appeal to a lot of people. Like he says, if there's one trick you're going to do out of this book, it will probably be that one. And I think that's the case because there's a kind of, you're going to pick up 5 cards, you don't need anything else, it's got moves that a lot of us know, and it will feel like that's the one you're going to do. I actually think that would be a mistake. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful trick. It's a lovely trick. But I think because it hasn't got any kind of setup or prep, it would be a mistake to go straight into that one and go, that's the one for me. Because yes, it's lovely, but I think there's a lot more powerful stuff in this. This time machine trick where you visibly show very quickly, you know, you show 3 cards, 1 on top, 1 on bottom, 1 in the middle. You push them in very clean, no breaks or anything. And then the card comes out of the middle, top and the bottom, after you've mixed them all up or put them back in the deck where they were before. So you've really cleanly gone back in time, but you see this card float out of the deck if you can do the slide, which is not that difficult, which again gives it this, it's quick, it's snappy, but it's really powerful, and there's a kind of economy to it. Now, one of my favorite things in this, and it was so nice to see, twisting the aces. Yeah, Steve, God, what a trick. Yeah, twisting the aces. That was difficult, wasn't it? Thank you, Dave, for unsticking my ridiculous addled mind. Magnetic silver. I'm not going to perform it for you, but I always loved the shoot-a-gower thing. Actually, there's a lot of people have done it. My friend Matt Ricardo in his street shows do the thing with the magnetic table when the thing stuck to the table with mine. Okay, it's always so funny. I do a little thing with my friend. A lot of people do it. And then I saw Danny Garcia do a thing with cards, you know, the cards or credit cards being stuck together and being magnetic using mime. Ben O once showed me a very quick thing, I think, and then he told me about shoot-a-gower. And it's just this lovely thing where you just, you know, you've got that thing of another, where you just, it's just a mime thing when where the coins are, and I don't know, you can do this thing when you, whoops, put that there for a minute. But and I've always loved it. I love the feel of it. I love the look of it. I think it's great. It goes down, but I didn't know where to put it really. And he's got this lovely routine where he does that, and then he does something really magical, and it's really going to take people off guard, and then just sort of finishes. So it's got this, again, there's always this thing running through this of economy. It's almost like a comedian that always says, you know, it's about what you don't say, not what you do. It's about not fleshing things out for the point of it. And it's like, really, you do that, and then it's visually not there anymore, and it goes there, and that's the end. And we've done this magnetic thing, and he makes a real thing out of it, saying if you rub them that it becomes magnetic. So it's not just like a throwaway thing, which I've kind of done it as. It's a real part of the trick, but there's this real moment of magic. And then that's the coin stuff. There isn't loads of coin stuff. We have Versatile Transpo, which is it's a kind of note version of copper silver, and it's very, very clean. I'm not sure if you could do it with, I'm pretty sure you will be able to do it with English notes, but you have to make up a gimmick which has a very fair, you say, what denomination do you want? Have you got a 5 or a 10? They give you the card, and you put them both in their hand, take one out, as you do with a copper silver. It's very clearly maybe the 5, and that turns into the 10, and they will have the 5, and it's like a transposition, but it's super, super, super clean, and it avoids that kind of transposition thing we sometimes have with copper silver, where you go, what one have you got in hand? They kind of go, I don't know, I can't remember. It involves a gimmick that you're going to have to make up. It's not going to take you long. It's going to cost you a bit because of the way it works, but I think, again, it's something that is straight down, get straight to it. And the other, I'm gonna go through them because there's not loads of tricks. The paper and silver, and this is when I read this and I thought this reminds me of sort of cornucopia, the John Carney stuff. Where again, he's not scared to do a trick with a handkerchief, and people go, "Why would you do a trick with a handkerchief?" And you go, "Well, because I'm a magician and I'm doing a trick with a handkerchief." And you know that lovely card through hanky, but he's got a wonderful move in there and an application of an existing move, using a certain gimmick, which again just cuts out all the chaff. So again, you know, make it easy on yourself. If you're going to do something, he talks about when you do it to make it invisible, and you know that card comes out of the handkerchief. You know, when you wrap it round and it just melts through the middle. Again, a beautiful trick, and again a kind of classic feel to it. And then the last two tricks, and I think I've mentioned them all, is muck off, which is a kind of card from the sleeve, but then card from a spectator's sleeve, and this gravity deck, which is a wonderful use of the Omni deck, where they have an empty box and they kind of feel it get heavy, which I think is just a really original, great use, and not just having an Omni deck and kind of going, hey, it's in your hand, now it's a glass block, which is fine, do it all the time, let's be honest, but it creates something very magical. So this became, I started reading this, and it's a really, really good book, and I think a lot of people are going to flip through, they're going to see these little methods, you know, use the pen and all this and go, no, it's not really for me, but I'd really stay with it. And when I say stay with it, it's a little book, this, and don't get put off by the amount of tricks in, which it's about 9 or 10 odd thing. It's not, again, it's about, why would you give someone a book of 30 or 40 tricks where you've got 10 or whatever it is exactly, let me say, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, there's one I've forgotten to mention. Of really workable stuff that, like you said, some of this is going to be better for, you know, the first couple of tricks are going to be better for a sitting down pile of situations. They're not going to work for every situation, but you can adapt them. Some of them work straight, like the time machine, do it straight away, no problem. Some of them are going to take a bit of time. Some of them are really quick. Some of them are a lot longer. You've got a huge variety of stuff in here for this little book. And the one I forgot to mention, which is ridiculous, is Out of Sight, Out of Mind. I'm so glad I got my notes there, because he's got a version of Out of Sight, Out of Mind. And I love the trick, but I've always had a little bit of an issue with, I can't make it look like the actions are justified. I can't help but make it look really contrived. So I've always sort of learned and given up and not done it. And he's done a version of it which cuts out this kind of bit in the middle. It doesn't cut out it to the spectator. They still kind of see the same thing, but it gives you this fairness to it again. And there's a lot, I keep saying it, he goes back to, we've got a thing here that's got this contrived thing, let's get rid of that, let's put that in and make it really fair and just make it a really smooth transition. And I think with this trick I'm gonna use that, or definitely learn it. And by the way, I've learned a lot of these tricks. I wanted to show you some today, but it's not quite there, and I don't want to kind of expose stuff. But if you want me to demonstrate, and you do, let me know, and I'll sort of do what I can. Except the note one, don't think I'm going to make that. I think what was interesting is I read most of the book without cards in hand, which I find very difficult, and nearly all of it I didn't feel like I had to pick up the cards to get it. And that's what I mean. That's why I mean it must be very clear for that to happen, because I'm a kinesthetic person. I need those cards in my hand. I need them to what's he saying? And even with certain moves, I'm kind of going, yeah, I kind of get that. I feel like I could learn it, then pick up the cards, and then do it. So it's a lovely little book, really, really nice, and just beautifully, you know, as Vanishing Ink are, they just know how to produce books. They've kind of decided to focus on something I think that a few years ago we thought was a dying thing, and I'm very grateful for it. So I do recommend it. It's a lovely book. Pros, skill-wise, I'd say it is intermediate. There's nothing knuckle busting, you know, there's your double lifts, there's a couple of palms, but he usually avoids that actually, mostly not. There's a couple of things that he's got things like the ace on top, which you can finish it with a palm, or you can finish it with a lot easier, and I'm not sure actually what I prefer. I think they're both really, really good. So I think most people, if you're a card worker, you're going to be all right with this stuff. There's nothing, whereas like with Carlos Fakira's stuff, I kind of, and there was a kind of similarity between some of it, but that was a lot of really knuckle busting stuff. And the similarity is he uses this move with the time machine in a similar way. But really, really great stuff. It clearly comes from a pro, clearly comes from a worker, and I think when you flip through it, you might go, like I said, read it. cover to cover, and you'll get some really, really interesting stuff out of it. So let's have a look what we've got. I'd love some demonstration. Yeah, it's really hard, you know. I'm gonna be totally honest. This isn't solid enough. I've literally only been reading this week, so I'll be honest. The ace on top I've pretty much got, but I don't, because you know, if I expose something, it doesn't respect the material if I haven't got it completely solid. I would usually have done a recording and cut it in, but I've had the kids constantly and I can't do it. And I'm not complaining, just the way it is at the moment. So I haven't got the time to put in as I'd like to have. But I just think to respect the material, it's going to take a long time to get it really, really solid. And I don't want to be exposing tricks live on YouTube. So I totally will. If you want some, I'll do some pre-recorded stuff. And I'll be happy to do that. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people said that. Somebody said the other day, which was quite funny, and it was only last week. I was in window change or something, and they said, well, I don't understand why you're not doing this for an audience for us. And I kind of thought, because I don't even see my family, I'm not going to see an audience, so that's why we're in lockdown. But that's quite funny. I don't know, strange. Why haven't I got an audience? So thank you very much. Thanks for watching. I'm really glad I've done this now, because I just love my books. I really hope that people buy more books. So I wish you all the very best. I really hope you stay safe. Please like, please subscribe, and please go and check out cardmagiccourse.com for me and give me some feedback other than it looks a bit ropey. And I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye. Which one is it? That one.